Well, hey there everyone. So looks like spring is finally here, and we've had a few good days here in a row that been working on quite a bit of stuff over here at the site and hauling the last few loads of material over from McDonald Steel. And that's largely what I have to deal with here now, is that we brought all that stuff over the fall and winter, and it's just everywhere. When it's cold and miserable here, I don't feel like putting stuff away and doing all that, so it just piles up. So you can see we've just have stuff all over the place. But now that the warm weather is here, and now that the Grove crane is here and running good, we're able to get a few things taken care of. So the one thing we did the other day is we got one of the 3-foot gauge cars from McDonald that we're keeping, and set this very heavily built shed on top of it. We still haven't figured out what this thing was used for, but I mean, it's built out of 8-inch I-beams and 1/4-inch plate, all riveted together. It's pretty darn stout. So what we're going to use this for, once we get another roof on it, putting all the various small rolling mill parts in here. So all the various bits and pieces for the rolling mill that I want to keep in one place will all go in here, and it'll sit on this car for the time being. Let's see what else we have going on here. So 58 had a few leaky tubes. You may remember that from last year. One of our members is coming out here in another week or so, and we're going to attempt to roll the tubes with the boiler on the Locomotive. He's the only person that can fit through the firebox door to try to roll them inside, that actually knows what he's doing. So if that works out, then we can think about operating 58 for this year. If not, if we can't do that, then we're going to have to take the basically tear the whole Locomotive apart and take the boiler off so that somebody can get in underneath, which probably means we won't operate 58 this year, and instead spend a lot more time here on the 62, which we're going to be working on anyways. Next thing we have to do is get the driver tires moved out to 20 and 7/8 inch back-to-back distance so that it'll work on this railroad, and then clean, prime, and paint the frame and the driver sets, and then get those back underneath, and then get the frame set back down on. And then at some point here this summer, we'll get the boiler back on the chassis and get this one ready to go. So you may remember that this boiler is pretty much good to go. I mean, it's almost in steamable condition. Needs some studs replaced and a few other things done to it, but nothing boiler wise actually. Here we have an entire assortment of Erie Railroad signals that came off the Meadville line that we brought in over the winter. Got to do something with that. An extra hook from McDonald. So this little cart, this 3-foot gauge cart, was over there, and they'd throw scrap in one of these bins and then roll it into the next bay where the crane could grab it and take it out, and that cart just went back and forth. But I'm thinking that's a good start for a depressed center flat car. You know, build a gooseneck basically on either end, and then use a carpenter car on each end and turn that into a depressed center flat. The idea being that if we have to move rolling mill stands around, it can sit right on that car. It won't be too high up in the air, and we can bring them into the rolling mill building, take them out, set them aside. You know, we have to switch them out or whatever we have to do. Other than that, it can carry one of those slope-sided boxes and just be another interesting piece of equipment for the railroad. All right. So if I sound a little out of energy, I am. I pulled a muscle the other day in my back, and I think I overdid it over a couple of days. Yeah, I'm 51 and don't really have the same energy that I did, and also a little bit out of shape from not doing a lot of physical work over the winter, so just got to get myself back into shape here. So, oh well, let's head over in this direction here. So we spent pretty much most of the day working on the big gearbox here. This piece is, I believe, 27,000 pounds, and we have to get it over onto the foundation where the rolling mill is going to be put in. We may have an opportunity to have a 30,000 pound telehandler here maybe next week. If so, we'll pick this up and get it over there onto the concrete foundation where it belongs. So I wanted to get a lot of the grease off of this thing beforehand. So using the rosebud torch, basically burning grease off of it all day. I mean, this is actually a lot cleaner than it was earlier. Inside the gear pit here, that was just full of water and old grease and all that. So there's 3 buckets full of it over there. So we'll get this thing cleaned up and at least ready to go. So if that other machine gets over here, we can pick it up and get it over into position, which would be a lot easier than trying to use the crane and the forklift and try to maneuver it over, because it's heavier than what the forklift can handle, and it's right at the capacity of the crane. But as you know, with the crane, you're all the way in up next to the machine, and you can't really do with it whatever you want to do. So if we can get it over here, moved over here with that machine, that's the way to go. Let's see. Oh, here's something else that we just found over at the plant. This little 3x2x3 Worthington duplex pump with a lubricator. So all I really need to do with that is kind of clean it up and remount the lubricator on it, and it should be good to go. We also grabbed a couple of Cutler hammer load brakes. I want to have an extra here for the overhead crane if something would happen to the hoist brake on that. At least I'll have a spare that I can retrofit on if need be. All right, well, that's about all I've got for today. Just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on here. Like I say, we're going to be doing some boiler work here fairly soon and a hydro test on 58. Assuming that all gets sealed up, then we'll have the state inspector come over, do his every 3rd year inspection. We may do the inspection at the same time on 62's boiler while he's here. And I'd like to get 62 at least a frame back on the drivers before we even think of running 58. Let's see. Probably won't be till May or so before we actually start running the steam locomotive this year, because I want to get a lot of this other stuff cleaned up and organized around here. And once you start running the steam locomotive, then the volunteers magically only have time to come out when the locomotive's running, and then when we're doing work, they all amazingly have other things they need to do. So we're going to do the stuff that nobody likes to do, and then we're going to do the thing everyone likes to do. So that's just the way it is here at Youngstown Steel Heritage. All right, everyone, take care and enjoy the spring.